Welcome to In the Know with Steph and Joe. I'm Joe.
I'm
This is
Steph.
We have a couple of guests here. Steph, you want to introduce them?
Sure. This is John and Mike with Level Up Restoration.
Hello, everyone.
Level Up Restoration.
Thank you.
A lot of people know that I do restoration work, so we want to not confuse our guests. What kind of restoration work do you guys do?
Exterior restoration.
There it is. Yeah. And
Roof, siding, gutters.
where do you guys service?
Chicagoland area, northwest suburbs. I mean, really 45 minutes, an hour out from Crystal Lake, Huntley, where we're based out of.
To clarify, not Chicago.
You don't want to be doing rollout roofs?
No
flat roofs. Oh, you'll do flat roofs, but just not in Chicago.
Yeah. I don't want to be around that area. It's just everything's tight and hard to move.
So hi mom.
Hi mom.
So
That's
mom's
my mom.
here.
She's in quick.
She is paying attention.
She's off today.
Oh, she's got the day off.
Yeah.
Nice. Enjoy it, mom. So today we're talking red flag clients
And red flag employers and red flag employees.
we'll just say
Everything.
red flag.
Like, what's your red flag?
What is a red flag to you guys? To me, a red flag is just something where you walk in and you go this, or you're talking to somebody and it throws it out there as just, I am not comfortable. I don't see this going right. I've seen somebody, right, that liked this before and the outcome was not good. It could be anything, right? Employees, friends, family. I have family red flags. 100%.
Don't work with family. That's
all heard
You're
that.
talking
Family
to somebody
friends.
who works with his wife, so
That's a
about
little different.
That's about as deep as you can get working with your family.
That's true.
Yeah, red flags. You want to start clients? You want to start employees? You want to start, or we start companies? Just
What,
like
employers?
no, I was thinking like regular companies. Like if I were to call like a restaurant and they were to be like, yeah, and I'd be like, yeah, I'm good, thanks, cancel my order, click, right? Red flag.
Yeah.
All right, fair.
Oddly enough, I actually one of the things I used to work for a industrial dishwasher repair company, and I would service dishwashers in the back of restaurants, and I used to have a list of restaurants that I would never go back to because I like to eat at, because I'm like, I know the health
100%.
records, like of the health department records and everything. Or I see what's going on. I'm like, no, thank you.
Really?
No.
Hey, let's meet
Yeah.
up. No, I'm busy.
I can't.
Yeah,
I just can't
exactly.
eat. No,
No.
thank you. Interesting. Any
Yeah.
red
Ignorance
flags?
is bliss.
Sort of. Not really. I don't know.
In food restaurants.
I don't know. I want to know what I'm consuming, right? Yeah. What? I don't know. Do you
I
have
guess
any?
the front of the house in any business, like restaurant or just whoever your first point of contact is, that has to be your rock star. Because I
Yeah.
feel like if you put some crotchety person in your front,
Yeah.
like it just it just doesn't.
You
It just
should
doesn't.
never put a crotchety in your front.
First impressions are huge, right?
Right. Like I feel like when you walk into an establishment, like that's gonna be whether you're gonna actually complete the purchase or not.
Yeah.
Or
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 pick
if they
the
walk
phone.
up to you,
Right.
even.
I was just telling you guys that in the green room that I'm scheduling a musky fishing trip, right? And I called a few guides, and the first person I called, they didn't call me back. It probably took about 4 days. I had gone through like 3 or 4 other places that I spent some time, and the one guy that he picked up right away, probably an older dude, I'm gonna say, but like, hey, how's it going? Yeah, okay. Oh yeah, whatever you need. But he wasn't like the most bubbly person, right?
He's timely though.
But he picked up the phone. He answered my questions. He sat there and talked to me, right? He gave me information. He didn't bullshit with me. And I'm like, well, that's great. I feel really comfortable with this guy. That's who I'm going, right? Like, that's it. That's all I want.
It's so hard to find good customer service these days, and you have to vet that out. And when you do, I mean, for example, we had a roof that we did, and some material fell off the roof and broke a sentimental stone that the guy had engraved and then sketched for his nephew who passed away. And I called up a couple different companies to get this stone remade. They said, well, that's concrete. We don't do that. The first guy said, that's all he said. The second guy said, hey, that's concrete. We don't do that. But what I can do is a beautiful stone, blah, blah, blah. He laid it all,
Remake it.
He laid it all out
Yeah.
for me and said, this is what I can do.
Detail,
It's going to be
too.
great.
Really?
Like
And I'm like, you got my
detailed.
business, bud. You know,
Yeah.
it's huge.
It was great.
Yeah.
First impressions are huge.
And
Red
mind you,
flags in the first
on
step.
impressions too, it's in our paperwork. Like there's minimal things that we need you to do, like remove sentimental things, pull grills away, you know, like stuff like it's falling material. Like you're gonna have some stuff happen. And that's in the thing. Like if you got a sentimental rock, you should be moving it away. And it didn't happen. So, you know, we could have just said no, but it's supporting the
Part of you
supporting
guys
the brand.
not showing a red flag, too,
100%.
right? Like, yeah, taking care of your
Be
clients,
like, you know
right?
what? It's not that big of a deal. I'll take care of it for you.
Have you got a red flag like company that you're just like?
I mean, she's kind of sitting with us, so you don't have
What?
to put her on the spot.
Fair enough, you guys. Yeah. There's these guys, they deal with you know, going up in some kind of level. I don't know.
I guess for me, it's doctor's offices, like doctor's offices and like vets and stuff. Like if I feel like your front of the house isn't going to take good care of either my fur babies or my babies, and they don't have that nice experience walking in, then I don't want to go into like the back office and see the doctor.
Go through the rest of it.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So for me, it's like doctor's
Really?
offices. Yeah, because I already
get
don't
that.
like
You
going to
wanna
the
go
doctor
a
in
vet
general.
and it's like
Yeah.
nasty. It smells bad. Like,
Like-
the vet,
Like
not
I
gonna
don't,
be
because like
great,
we
but-
had like a big black and tan German Shepherd. He was 120 pounds, so he was
Yeah.
a bigger dog. He was very lean though at 120, and most gentle dog like ever. But the lady that was working the front counter was petrified of big dogs. Like I don't know how you're gonna work at a vet and be petrified of big dogs.
Right?
And then she wanted to like muzzle him because her anxiousness was making him anxious.
Yeah.
Which then he started to go behind, like to hide behind me, because he's like, I don't. This lady's
Right.
crazy.
Dogs can totally sense that.
Yeah,
100%, yeah.
And then he didn't want to go by her, and then she's like, he's gonna bite me, and we have to muzzle him. There's no way you're muzzling my
you
dog.
guys ever,
Well,
do you
you're
guys ever
not
want to
getting
take
my
like a
business.
dog to a client's house to be like, here, dog, you sniff it out and tell me what's up. And if
Yeah.
you're cowering from that person,
Right.
then I know it's a red flag,
Oh,
right?
for
Like,
real.
can you teach a dog red flags?
I think their
100%.
natural instincts are enough, right? Just let them around them.
Fair
And
enough. Yeah,
depends
like,
on if he likes them or not. If my dog don't like you, sorry, I gotta go.
Also, to that, if you like my dog,
He's a
or not,
sniffer.
you know, like
Yeah,
he's a red flag
90% love my dog, and you don't. Maybe that's a red flag.
yeah, fair enough. Fair enough. Okay.
But we've walked. Yeah, go ahead.
You finished.
Oh,
I was going to shift subjects.
I was just gonna say, as a business owner, though, I mean, not all business is good business, right? Because you can get red flags from customers as well, and that's something that, as a business owner, has been very valuable to us because I've probably walked away from a good chunk of business, you know, every single year
Yeah.
due to the fact that customers were showing red flags. It wasn't going to be a good fit.
Let's shift into that one after, because I feel like we got some great customer stories that will
Sure.
end the show real well.
Never
Let's get into our
short of-
employees.
Sure.
Let's get into employees. You guys do subcontract out the like 1099, right? So, or whatever, where you have your employees come in. You work, I assume, with probably some of the same guys over and over.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
You know your crews, so
Yeah.
they know
Or
you.
gals.
Or gals.
100%.
Not everyone.
Human beings.
We have women
Yeah.
on those crews and everything. There are a few women on there occasionally and everything that'll come in and help out
Awesome.
for sure.
We have very consistent crews. Not everyone in our industry does,
Right.
but we have very consistent crews.
We have
So
relationships with our crews.
employees wise, because I've had some, you know, I when I was 19, 20, this was before insurance, before I moved to Illinois area, I ran a shoe store. I managed a shoe store in retail, and I hired one day a crackhead.
Knowingly,
Yeah, absolutely.
because they were fast.
He was incredibly energetic. He learned about shoes. He had no problems doing whatever to sell them. He moved really
Uh-huh.
quick. To work in retail, it kind of was. I mean, okay, he never actually said it, but dude was a crackhead. All right, like crap. What's his name?
No, no
Carrie-
names on the show.
Carrie remembers him. Oh, he's back in like. Anyway, he's back in Michigan. He's not like he's listening to this. I could be. Anyway, who knows?
We're-
But
International Joe.
well, I'm just saying though, I knowingly hired him, knowing that there's going to be some issues, but do those issues outride the productivity that I would get out of him?
And how'd that work out?
The guy's probably a governor.
100%. Which is he running for president?
I don't know, God. I have to remember his. If I if I hear his first name, I would remember the last name. But I mean,
What are some crackhead names? There's not many.
Listen. Anyway, that was like, it was a clear red flag when I hired him, right? Knowing that I'm going to hire somebody that I'm going to have to be diligent and watch. Right? So it was just certain times that I would bring him in and have him work and schedule because I made the schedule. So I could literally cater to him being in the store.
Hey, Eric.
But to me, it was just kind of, I was like, why the hell not? Let's see what happens, right? I ignored the red flag. It actually, he kept we wanted his sales ratio to be a certain amount, and he sold enough to keep his sales ratio low enough that he was making money for me.
Sure.
He was making me money. I'm not going to argue, right? Like, he was great entertainment sometimes.
What he does in his recreational time, I guess, is
and it's hard to find good employees. So sometimes you have to ignore the red flags and give people the benefit of the doubt until they're not performing correctly.
That's a great point.
And I'm just saying, what was it just this last year that a good chunk of the trucking industry got laid off because they were drug testing across the board and everything?
Right.
Yeah. And it's like, if that's what's trucking across America and holding it together, why are you pulling out the rug on? Out from under some people where they're traveling through states.
Was it Listen, I don't like the taste of Coke. I just love the smell.
We have to say happy birthday to Joey. Happy birthday.
To who?
I don't know. This guy's friend's Joe.
Oh,
Joey's
hey,
30th
Joey,
birthday
30th
is
birthday.
today.
Dirty 30.
All right.
30 30.
Happy birthday.
But I don't know. I mean, like everybody.
It's all downhill from here. Sorry.
Come on. I'm turning 40 this year, and it's not that downhill. It's not that bad.
It's called turning a hill.
Yeah. Then I'll be, I don't know, cresting the hill.
I mean, everybody knows, like, for me, like, the red flag killer for me when I'm looking through resumes is when they put attention to detail on the resume. I can't stand that. Or if you're applying for a bookkeeping job and you don't know how to spell bookkeeping, like that's another like problematic red flag for me.
Is there 2Ks in bookkeeping?
Yes.
Okay.
We had a meeting.
That's what I'm asking.
Otherwise, it's bookkeeping.
What if it's bookkeeping?
No.
We had a
We
had a meeting with a sales rep and his manager, and I asked, like, the basic question a lot of people ask, what makes you different? What's going to set you apart? Like, why do you want my business, kind of thing? And the only thing that was answered repeatedly was our customer service and our competitive pricing. That's it. If you can't come up with more than that, so every sales rep in every industry across the board or across the board is going to say, my customer service and my pricing beats everybody. It's like the movie Elf. Like, it's the world's best cup of coffee.
Way to go!
Well, what it is? A shitty cup of coffee. The world's best cup of coffee.
And if they would have delivered on those couple things, that would have helped the case.
Yeah,
they didn't do that.
No, it was followed up by the work. So come on,
they're not understanding what their job is to be
100%.
a competitive business, right?
Another red flag for employees is in the interview when they already have so many vacations and things lined up, like when they're
planned.
Right. When they're like applying for a part-time job and then they already have so much stuff lined up.
Oh, hey, by the
and
way,
they don't
can I
even
get
have
these
a
days
job.
off?
Like, how do you even have these vacations lined up when you don't have a job?
Right.
And then now you have a job and then now you got to take off all of this other time. Like, are you sure you want to work?
Right.
Like, or
Finding people that are truly willing to work hard is.
I get people though, like, that are like, hey, I have a wedding coming up in 2 weeks after I get hired. That it's my sister's wedding. I get that, but like what you're saying, like some people, like, I have a list of Airbnbs I got to get to. What's that?
My daughter just got hired by Olive Garden, and her sister is getting married.
Exactly.
I mean,
you're
it
like,
happens,
I mean, like,
It
I'm
does
pretty
happen.
flexible. I mean,
I
I'm flexible to a point, but like you can't have that many vacations lined up and expect to actually work. Like if you've been out of work for 6+ months
yeah.
and then you're trying to get back into the workforce and you're talking about how you're such a dedicated employee and you're so hardworking and you're selling me on
those weeks.
right. But you're like selling me on all of these
I don't care if
things.
you-
like,
I would say
and,
I don't care if
with,
there's
like,
been a
what
work
you said,
gap
with
even.
to what you said, I think a gap though in a time period where you haven't been working for a significant amount of time is another huge red flag.
Well, even then
Depending on
though
the
too,
scenario.
if it's a red flag too in the case of like, hey, I have a job, I'm not getting enough hours, I need more hours, and you're like, okay, cool, I can give you those hours, and like, by the way, I need all this time off, and you're like,
Right.
I thought you just said that you need more hours.
Right.
You
Well,
know, like-
to me, it really depends on like a vacation is, hey, I got a week vacation coming up. Okay,
yeah,
you don't need to go on that vacation, right? Is it already
Yeah.
paid for? All right, then maybe we're talking. But like a wedding, no, that's a different occasion, right? It's a one-off
like I
occasion.
get the things,
Yeah.
but I'm just saying, like, if
Right.
you want off,
after
like,
family reunion, maybe
if you
you
have
skip
like
that
6
one.
or 7 things are paid,
Right.
Next year, go to it.
or like, or if you're talking about like your like in the interview and you're kind of just doing like the chit-chatting stuff, and then you're kind of like talking about how like your day as an owner runs versus like their day as an employee, and how you're gonna structure their onboarding and training process.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh my god, how do you do all that stuff in one day? And like you're so busy. Like if you're nervous about my schedule, like
Yup.
it makes me nervous about your ability to work for somebody that has a schedule like me.
Yeah.
Like that makes
When you're
me
trying to
nervous.
offboard
That's
some of
so
your
true.
schedule.
That's so true. I never thought about
Yeah.
it that way.
Like,
oh,
because there was like a lady that interviewed and she was just like, God, she's like, how do you do that? Like, how do you accomplish that? And one day, I'm like, what do you mean? You just do, and you do this and this and whatever. You just
and you just keep going,
like work
right?
it out. Like you just roll it in. Like we got a puppy, so now he's just rolled into the mix, and you just whatever. And she's just like, that's a lot, ma'am.
Yeah.
Like
You're out.
yeah, I'm like if
I'll
you
have my people
if
here,
my
your
just
people.
listening to my schedule stresses you out, like you're not going to be able to
100%.
handle somebody with my
That's
energy
interesting.
level.
What about red flags while they're working for you? Like you hired them, they didn't show you any red flags, and then all of a sudden there's some red flag. Yeah. Go ahead, Steph. You
I don't
start the show. Crack the bottle on that one.
I guess we had recently hired, everybody met this person on air and they're no longer with us. And it just, the on paper didn't match the deliverable. Like on paper looked great.
Imagine that.
They wrote a check because they're asking
How do you-
cash.
Now, hang on. Now, how do you pick that? Is there a way to pick that out when you're doing an interview to say, hey, I think this person is not showing a red flag in the interview, but maybe that is a red flag because it's almost like too good to be true.
Like I'll ask, now I start asking more questions about specific tax forms and filing forms, and I'll use more accounting lingo in the
That's what I was
interview.
gonna say.
Get
Ask
more
more
in-depth.
technical
And then
questions
use
that
jargon.
they should be
Yep.
witty
And if
on.
they could respond and answer me in said jargon, like, okay, like it's not going to raise a flag on my bullshit meter. But once I start seeing your work, like usually if you work on 1 or 2 clients, I'll figure it
I
out.
don't know what a soft is.
I was just gonna say. I was literally just gonna say, if you start talking to, because I have talked to a lot of different siding crews and everything, because it's very, very hard to find a good, just quality crew out there that can do everything across the spectrum on a house,
Especially
for siding.
siding.
siding
specifically.
specifically.
Yeah.
and the guy that we work with now is incredibly talented to where it's a work of art. It truly is when he's like done with it. That, and really it goes to that attention to detail that we were kind of joking about on the resume. But he
Yeah, don't
he
put that on
didn't-
your resume.
Don't put it, just
and,
do it.
And that's
Right.
the thing. I
Yeah.
talked to him.
Yeah.
I asked him
It's not what you
questions
say,
and
it's
everything.
what you do.
He was very specific in his answers and everything. He was like answering, and I asked a question, and that led him to answer more questions that I had than what I had to ask him. And that's what I like looking for. If I ask you one thing and that trickles you into 4 other things that you just answered for me, that's already making me feel more secure that like you obviously know your stuff. So,
Totally.
and then he also followed it with, let me show you. This is what I want to get paid. We kind of talked about pay and everything for all the different stuff. And then it was followed with, and then let me show you and we'll finalize everything. I'm like, all right, cool. And after that, we made adjustments in his favor. So,
Yeah.
because he delivered. And where other ones I would talk to, I'm like, dude, if you don't know what a brake buddy is, we got problems. Like that's a basic tool that you should have here.
How has that portrayed into the future of like what you guys are doing with other employees and like, or like for us, I'm we have employees that may show up late consistently, right? Even though they're on time, but then the first couple weeks and then they just slowly start.
So that's the thing. We've always held them to a standard.
Yeah, I'm
frankly,
nice, but I'm a hard ass too. Like there's like he's saying, we have standards. Like, and I will be very nice and direct with those and upfront about them, and I will talk to you about everything. I'm never gonna like get heated or yell at people because I've seen that in the construction industry across the board.
Totally.
And that doesn't go good for anybody at all.
Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. And really, we don't give the crews much more than that. If you don't listen to us and don't follow our direction more than a couple times, you're done. You're not getting level up jobs anymore.
Yep. We've cut some crews loose. Like we have, crews that are, we have, roofer, cider, window guys. We give out a lot of, different work and stuff that is not in our wheelhouse that we don't want to deal with because it makes everything faster.
Not showing up on a Saturday, a beautiful Saturday to finish up and wrap up a project that you left open. We've called in other crews from Michigan actually to drive down and finish a job that they weren't willing to go back and do when they should have. And guess what? They never got another siding job again.
Nope. And the best part about that, and it was not a great situation that had to happen.
No,
at all. I had to call in favors. I had to spend extra money that I shouldn't have had to spend on and everything. That wasn't in the budget, but ultimately it kept the homeowner happy and everything. And it also set a chain of reactions of where between them and another crew that we're calling the gutter rapists because they could not keep the gutters in order. They were destroying these gutters, man. I'm like, new gutters.
For someone that owns a white windowless van. For somebody that owns a white windowless van,
gutters come out of
that word out here.
Well,
for real, they were just damaging these gutters on I'm like, protect the gutters. And then you go to the job and they're standing with their foot in the gutters with the ladder like scratching on it and everything. I'm like, and now we got to do all of these gutters, man. Like, stop. But it was like, and the same thing with that crew. Gave them the axe. Word spread like, oh, they got like between all of the other crews. It trickled down like, oh, so and so's now they don't get the level up jobs anymore because they want our jobs. We give them lunch. We buy extra tools for them. We supply extra. Yeah, we invest in the crews. We invest in the crews more than we invest in anything else because ultimately we're all selling the same products out there as everybody else. What really changes us more than anything is the quality
and the final product.
If the crews aren't being back charged and aren't under the gun feeling, then they're going to spend more time on their work. And I don't care if it takes 2-3 days instead of 1 day, and I'm going to back charge you for a bunch of nonsense.
Right.
You now have the time and the worry-free environment to do real good work, and then they don't have to go. Like, we don't really often go back for problem repairs at all.
Do you guys? So I know I've done this. We take and we're doing it now. We create standard operating procedures, right?
Mm-hmm.
Not just obviously when I started this company, our company, I had them all in my head, right? I was the only one doing the work. Right. I was the only, I had one kid that rode with me, and I would just tell him, go peel up all this tack strip and roll this carpet, wrap it in tape and carry it out. Right. Like, and he could do that. Right. I set up everything else and it was all in my head. Well, then we started to get bigger. We started to employ people. Right. And now all the things that I had, right, I was doing, I can portray to the next guy. And then that guy can portray it to the next guy and maybe to the next guy, but we're losing it. And so now
it's a game of telephone.
Exactly. You knew where I was going with that. Our big thing right now is getting everything into paperwork
And
Yeah.
procedures.
A process.
where
A
it
process.
literally
You're getting a
is, hey,
process.
this is the way you do this. This
Yeah.
is the way you do that. This is how you do this. And it's
Yep.
all in writing. So that way
Yep.
we have it. And it's not like you saying to the crew, oh, don't ruin the gutters. Well, great. How do I not ruin the gutters? Right?
Right.
Like, how do you want me to not ruin the gutters?
Oh, yeah.
Right? You got to have a almost like but now you're talking to people that don't technically work for you.
100%.
Right. So you're trying to like impose. It's just kind of like different to me when it comes to employees of all different realms,
Yeah.
how much you can tell them what to do, ask them what to do, make them do.
100%.
Right.
Well, they don't
and-
get paid till the job's finished, so that helps.
And
Good for you.
at the end of
Yeah,
the
yeah.
day,
Leverage.
whether you're a direct employer or you're a employer of a sub, I'm, no matter what, you're hiring somebody to do something, and if I'm asking you to do it a specific way, I don't want to hear flack about it. Like, I'm
Yeah,
paying you
the
to
way
go
I
do
want
it
it.
this way.
Yep.
I want it done that way. And if I'm not objecting to talking and have a conversation. Like, I don't know everything, and I'm not perfect.
You got a
I
new
could
technique?
I could be
Tell
wrong.
me. Right. Yeah.
100%.
Yeah,
Maybe you
exactly.
do have a better way. I really do love learning new ways of doing stuff, because it's amazing to see people that know something, like really know their craft and just like do their work. And then there's other times where I'm like, I don't care. This is what the homeowner wants. I know it's wrong. Just do it. And it's like,
That's a good question. Okay, that's gonna bring it. That's a great time to shift gears then, shall we?
How do people get in touch with you if they want to?
Oh yeah, let's give your information out so that way people can actually get a hold of you.
Yeah, they can touch base with us by calling us. Our number is 815-216-4550. That's our main office number. There's
Check
press
us
one,
out
press
online.
1 for sales, which is me. 2 for production, which is this guy.
don't press 2.
Don't press 2. Just press 1. You want to talk to me.
You're so nervous and you're so good. You've been talking
Yeah,
so
natural.
well.
Natural.
I hate this so
Natural,
much.
dude.
And our website is leveluprestorationllc.com. That's another way people can get in touch.
Excellent.
Please take a look on
Before
there.
we-
It'll answer a lot of questions before you call.
Before we shift out of employees, I just want to say that one thing I noticed while you guys were talking is that it seems like all of us at the table, and also Kent too, we all work in such a tight knit community of people within our trades and industries
Yeah.
that if somebody is not good, like, you better make sure as an employee you didn't or a subcontractor or whatever the case may be, that you didn't burn that bridge so bad that word is going to get out amongst all of your peers.
Yep.
Because we've had people that have applied to work for us that had previously worked for other CPA firms. And then in the interview, I asked them like, oh, why aren't you there anymore? And then they gave me some answer, and I'm like, and I'm like, just so you know, I know the owners of that company. And then they're like, oh, I'm just gonna go then now.
Yeah.
Like, look, I'm good.
Don't let
Like,
the door hit you where the good Lord split you.
Right.
Yeah,
But it's just like-
Word travels fast.
so if there's situations where there's a red flag employee or red flag subcontractor, especially in our industries where it's so tight knit and people kind of shift
Oh,
and
yeah.
bounce around a lot, that
It's all about
word's gonna get
relationships.
like around. So
Yeah.
if you're not happy somewhere, don't become that red flag employee or red flag subcontractor. You need to, end the relationship professionally. Like, we might not be professionally compatible, and that's fine.
Yeah.
but you don't want
Yeah,
to
that's a
And we've
great
ended
point.
relationships with our old siders, guys we've gotten rid of and stuff like that, on a very positive note. And you know what? If someone calls me and says, hey, do you have a cider I can use? I know they can still get the job done. I know they're still capable of it. And you know what? I'll refer them out to somebody else who's,
It's
they're
not
still gonna-
capable to my standard.
100%.
To our
Whatever,
standards.
yeah,
Doesn't
whatever
mean
the reason may be. There's
Yeah.
there's people that we've gotten rid of that were great employees for us. They were phenomenal, but they just were not on the same page and did
Yeah.
not hold the same values.
100%.
Right, that our company does. And if you're not gonna be in the same, I don't want to say moral, but kind of
Like
is
mix.
like the
same mix.
We were talking about this
Well,
morning,
yeah,
actually.
yeah.
And I hate how you talk to certain business people and they're like, this is how you have to do your business. You got to have a marketing guy. You got to do this. You got to do that. And it's like, businesses across the board, like, yeah, there's like a ground, it's like a puzzle. You got to have your corners and your border, like your groundwork, but the middle and everything, everybody runs their business differently. Everybody has a different direction that they're
100%.
taking it in. So it's hard to sit there and tell everybody, as a general, like, this is what you got to do. Because the way that we, approach, any situation is different than any of our competitors potentially. And like, whether
100% different, because you guys are completely different. There's so many variables.
exactly.
Everybody's looking at it from different views. There's
Exactly.
no way
I
somebody's
don't
gonna
like the
approach it.
blanket. Like everyone
Right,
tries
right.
to throw a
Yeah.
blanket statement.
Yeah.
And like, no, that's what you got to do. And it's like, that doesn't work.
There's certain things I'll say in business you have to do.
100%.
But
Yeah.
you're right.
You got to have a bookkeeper. You got to have a CPA.
Good luck. Good
You got
luck.
to have insurance.
Good luck.
You got to have certain things here.
Yeah, you do. Two of them.
One for exterior, one for interior.
That's it.
I don't do paint.
To be honest,
Oh.
we don't do interior rebuilds
Yeah.
at all.
What's funny is I hear that more and more from like the Surf Pro like community, like that, like
Yeah.
just damage. They're like, no, we tear it out and vent it. You find somebody else.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah,
it's
right.
such a pain.
It is like,
It's-
well, I'm not a general contractor. I don't want to
Yep.
do that, right? So yeah,
Yeah.
cut it, clean it, dry it.
So
Yep.
let's do red flag employers, and then we'll go on to red flag employees. We'll wrap up with that. But
What
yeah,
about, you're talking clients.
no, red flag employers. So
We need
have you
clients.
ever
I got
worked?
a good client
Yeah,
story.
Oh, I got a
clients,
good- we got
customers,
some
whatever.
good
So I was saying,
employer
Okay.
stories.
but I'm just
Okay.
saying, like, have you ever worked for an employer where you're like, holy cow, I will never work for somebody like that again?
Yep.
And now you
Yes.
could identify like the thing. And then so now that you are a business owner, you don't want to do that.
I like short conversations and I like getting to the point. I feel like when you have somebody, especially an employer, when it's like onboarding or it's an interview and you feel like you're being sold the business, the company, whatever's going on here, I'm the one looking for a job here. You shouldn't be trying to sell me on the situation here. Like,
Mhm.
I should have already done some of my homework or just be like picking up my other signs here. Like, do I want to work here or not? I have my own questions,
Mhm.
But like when it turns into a bloated, this is everything, this is what we do here, blah, blah, blah. It's like a big show that they're trying to put on to bring people in. That's instantly a red flag. Like that's
Hey, it's
Yeah.
like
What's
too much
going
smoke
on?
and mirrors. For me.
100%.
Yeah?
100%.
Too much smoke and mirrors for me.
I don't like a lot of talking. I want it simple to the point. I just want to get in and out. I'll come do work. Like other than
I
that,
fill out the application.
Exactly.
You like me, I like you.
exactly.
work.
I don't like promises either. Like I don't like that. Like I was taught from a very early age, don't believe anything until you got boots on the job site. Like you can be made all the promises in the world.
Interesting.
But anytime that I got laid off in construction, it was always 2 weeks. You finish a job and then it was like, oh, we don't have another one ready to go. 2 weeks. 2 weeks is never 2 weeks, man. 2
Right.
weeks is,
Totally.
2 weeks could be 2 days or it could be 2-3 months,
Right. Yes.
And so it's like, until you have boots on the job site, that foreman's going to keep calling you 2 weeks, 2 weeks, 2 weeks until you finally are on the job site.
Interesting.
So, John, what's a red flag employer you've had?
Oh, my main background is sales, so a big red flag for me is just, in sales, a lot of people are trying to blow smoke up your, and get you to perform for a lot less.
You're allowed to
That's
swear
right,
on
I
that.
can swear, but
Trying to blow smoke up your crotch.
yeah,
crotchety front?
but you'll get that a lot with sales guys, right? And a lot of people don't get paid what they're worth in sales, so that's the big red flag for me.
You salespeople are all the same.
No, listen, there's an 80-20 rule, maybe a 90-10 rule these days.
Could be.
That 10% of the people are really doing 90% of the performing, in my opinion. So
Right.
when you do find those guys, as an employer, you
That's
need
not
to,
everyone.
you need to take care of them. You need to keep them around because
100%.
they are
That's the
they are
thing.
driving your business.
Mhm.
They're the lighthouse. They're the main force keeping you sitting home doing your
It's not
your
even
boss
just
thing.
sales.
You know what I
Right.
mean? So
Your
when you
musky
find that guy, you
fishing.
gotta
My
you gotta
musky
take
fishing.
care of him for sure.
It's
Yeah.
not even just sales though.
But a lot
too.
of
It's
guys
any-
they'll abuse that until
100%.
you're gone, and then they're like, "What I do wrong?"
Right.
And it's like, dude, are you serious?
Yeah,
like, oh,
absolutely.
I
So
gave you a paycheck. You're like, dude, like I'm paycheck to paycheck. Like,
So I love that because as a salesperson, most of my career, I would always go in and argue for my money
Yeah,
because
you have
I
to.
need more money, right? Like I'm bringing you business, right?
Yep.
But at the same time, if for our company and the way I like our company to be set up, our salespeople come in and they do sell, but they're not full marketing, right? Like our marketing is a very holistic part of
They're
our
just
company.
they're just handling a very minimal portion of it.
No, she handles quite a bit. It's
Yeah.
Christine. I don't know if
Okay.
you've ever met Christine Ditzler, but if you don't, you should. She'll completely blow your mind on sales. She knows a lot of people and is everywhere. But she'll handle all of our online, all of our social marketing, all the online, the Google, the this, the that. But our employees are out, and while our employees, our actual operations guys are out, they're getting the reviews.
Hey, we're not doing operations today. You have to share a red flag employer.
Well, I'm saying
You are off topic, sir.
Okay. I'm just saying that she is driving that, but
We know
it's a
Christine is
holistic thing.
amazing.
So,
But what
okay.
is a red flag
everybody has a
employer?
hand in it.
Yes, everybody has a hand in it. It's
Yeah.
not like it's just
Well, like
one.
he said, like he sale.
Yeah. So what? Name one.
One, I can't name the person.
Well, just
We're not
experience.
naming
Like,
it's the reason. It's the reason I left insurance. It's the reason I left insurance was my boss.
Okay.
That-
Corporate.
No.
No?
In fact, my corporate boss was my uncle. So no, absolutely not.
Mhm.
It was my actual team leader. I was part of a team, and that's the reason I left insurance. I hated the people that I worked with. Right? I say that, but like I really did not like he was not a good dude, and in the sense of I was somebody who easily could have worked from home and been very good. This was before working from home was a thing.
Yeah.
Right. And so I actually moved from the city out here and said, yeah, I'll move out. I want to move out to the burbs. My kids are getting older. I don't want to live in the burbs. He moved out to the burbs. I go, but I want to be able to work from home Fridays, 1 day a week. Right. Moved out to the burbs. Nope. Need to come in. Maybe 1 day a month. All right.
Yeah.
I'm done. Right. Like this is not right. What do you mean I can't work from home?
I hate those promises.
Well, once you get into it, the expectations change, you know?
Right. Well, I was running, I was second in command on his team. We were doing $43 million in premium a year.
Yeah.
Right. In for insurance, right? Just property insurance. And it was awesome. I was making money, but I wasn't making nearly what I should have been earning. I wasn't right. Like I wasn't able to have the autonomy that I should have had for what I was doing.
Oh, you sales guys.
Right?
You don't like that? You don't like that?
No,
That's
I agree with you 100%.
That's where him and I came from, though, because like he was doing sales and I was doing production and everything, and our direct bosses were literally just loading everything on us to the point where it's like, if I just pay the bills to turn the lights on, then I have my own business at this point. Because like you guys, like they were just absentee for. If you want to be an absentee owner, then be an absentee owner. But like have the things set up, have the process.
You have to have it set
the
up.
Tools, and allow the people that are feeding you.
Or hire the people to set it up for you, but know that they're going to set it up.
In our case, it was
If you're gonna, as an owner, you're going to be smart. You're going to give someone the keys to the operation and teach them how to run your business, and they're true go-getters who actually keep the lights on for you.
Then you
don't teach them how to run the business unless you're going to pay, because they will be gone tomorrow.
Hi, I don't know who that is. Hi.
Who's this?
Oh, hi.
Hello. Mrs. Eli.
I don't. For me, like a red flag for me is locked doors and paper shredding. Like it makes me wildly uncomfortable.
That's a very big red flag.
But like I don't know.
That's a given.
What?
If I'm working in a building and there's locked doors and there's large paper shredding machines, like it makes me wildly uncomfortable.
That's weird.
Definitely your industry, I
Unless-
guess. Yeah.
It's
Unless
a
you're a
red
law
flag.
office.
Wow.
But like I don't know. Or like I guess a red flag for me in the past has also been when the when you have like a boss that's not really a leader. So nobody's really following them because they're not setting the pace.
Amen.
So if you're as the leader or the boss or the owner not setting the pace, that's a red flag for me, because then you're always the person to come in when like the team is doing stuff and they're getting things done and whatever. Then you come in and you throw like some weird monkey wrench in it, and you stand there and like, well, I'm the owner. Like if anybody says that phrase to me,
I'm the
like,
owner.
Yeah.
That's
what weird. Like that's
Like,
what would
I
happen to
can't
us.
do
Like,
that.
they're like,
It's
well,
like-
this is how I want you to do it. And it's like,
We came
well,
from
then
that.
be around and tell me that, man. Like,
yeah.
you're not answering the phone. I'm trying to make people happy here and keep everything going. And then you come in with your nonsense like, well, this is how we're gonna do it now. I don't like how that.
See, I love that. See, mine was over aggressive. My boss was over aggressive. He would call me. My parents live on an island in the middle of Lake Michigan. Very little cell service back then.
Yeah.
And so there would be times I put into my out of office. I am off grid. I cannot get anything, right? And he'd be texting me.
Yeah.
I'm still getting them. I was still getting the
yeah.
text, right? Like I still got them, but I'm not answering you. And he'd
yeah.
be like, you answer one, and then he's like, oh my, right? And you're like, oh,
yeah. As soon as you acknowledge it,
what the hell?
that's how mine was. Mine, he wouldn't come into the office until like 3-4 o'clock in the afternoon, and then work until like 2 a.m. sometimes. And he at one point he called me at like 12:30 at night, and I happened to be up, so I'm like. I answer like, what,
You
what
dumbass.
I
Like,
was
you thought the
curious.
bill-
I was curious. Like, what does
Is he
this
drunk?
fucker want?
Is he drunk?
Oh, yeah. Alcoholics are always drunk, right?
Fair.
I answer the phone like, "What's up, man?" And he's like, "Yeah, oh yeah." And he's like all riled up over some stupid stuff that is like, if you were just around, man, you'd know. You know,
Oh, here.
like, come on.
Well, my mom
Interesting.
said, I had someone call me and say, I'm the manager. And I said, okay, then you should know how to do that.
Well played, Mom. Well played. That's actually so true. Is as an owner, if you don't know, well, I don't know. There's certain points I think once you hit like growth, you may not actually know how to do certain parts of your business.
I'll stop you right there because I'm a very big proponent of it. I don't know, like I said before, I don't know everything and I don't have all the answers. Just because I know how to build a house doesn't mean that I'm the professional on every specific part of the house.
100%.
If you have a question and I don't feel comfortable giving you my answer, I'm going to go get the professional that does soffit every day and bring him in and have him give you the answer, because people are going to trust you way more if you admit that I don't have all the answers. I can get you the correct one though.
I don't
Rather
know,
than
but
sales
I know
guys just blowing it like, I think this is what it
easy on the
is, and
sales
then you
guy
got to go
thing
back.
here, right?
A
Under the
good
bus,
sales
quick.
guy knows to bring in the guy with the answer.
I think people, especially who aren't business owners, they expect because you're the business owner, you know everything, you have all the answers, and that's a big misconception. Because trust me, I don't know just as much as you don't know, but I'm maybe a little bit better at figuring it out and getting you an answer quicker, and dealing with the pressure better than you could. That's what makes me a business owner.
I don't know everything.
I know
I employ Steph's bookkeeping to do all my bookkeeping.
Smart move.
Exactly.
That's a smart move.
But, and you got, as a business owner, whatever your business is, you do have to have the tools in your tool belt necessary to be able to pull out to answer that question, get that answer, whatever it may be.
It's having the tools.
You can't sit there like, I don't know.
If you're the go-to, right? Everybody comes to you because you have the answers. You may not have the answers, but you can get the answer.
Well, the buck ends with you, so you better have some answer.
No,
the
buck.
The buck ends.
Yeah.
The buck ends with you, so you better have an answer.
Buck. Yeah.
To some extent, right?
Right.
So-
Absolutely.
Now that we're down to the last 15 minutes, we're going to do the fun part and do red flag clients, customers, whatever you want to refer to them as.
Okay.
Ones that offer you bourbon as soon as you come in for a watch out, because they are trying to milk you. They're trying to milk you. Don't drink too much of their bourbon.
Okay. How many of us have been offered drinks right when you walk in to meet a client right away?
All of us are
All of
raising
us.
our hands.
Everybody
in case people
raises
are-
their hand.
I've been offered worse.
Yeah. Oh, me too. Yeah,
I
absolutely.
think the best
Drugs.
is
Yeah. Everybody, drugs. Everybody.
Food
No.
at a hoarder's house.
I think the best is though
That's
is
the
when
dirtiest thing I've ever heard.
You're a sick man.
No,
Nope.
I'm not joking. I'm like, no.
You didn't
that's
eat it, did you?
No, God, no.
Okay, just making
No,
sure. I don't know. You eat. a
I think-
brownie
She wanted
with
to
a-
make lunch, and there was a clean
I think the
pot
best
inside, and there was a lot of
is
pots.
when someone tries to offer you the drinks in anticipation of you not being able to hold your own. Because
Yeah.
I've had situations
Okay.
where I've gone and met with like a client, a male business owner, and whatever, and then they're like, we've gone to a restaurant and met and had like a conversation, and they're like, oh well, I need, you know, whoever works with me to be able to do shots and keep up with me and whatever. All right, sir, like I don't think you know what you're getting into. I might be 5'1", but all right. I know how to do
Steph
that.
is gonna bury you. You don't understand, bro.
Inches in, sign this way.
Oh, that'd be a good one.
Like,
Just-
and like, so
For
we're
your
like,
safety, please sign here.
and we're like did a couple shots or whatever, and he's like, oh okay, like, you know, you want to get out of here or whatever. Sir, you just call my husband and ask him, like, I am way more expensive than this. Like he will tell you.
My aunt actually did that to someone in business, except she spoke the language that he couldn't speak, that the bartender spoke. And she told him the bartender to serve her shots of water instead of vodka.
Yep.
She was taking shots of water and the other guy was drinking vodka.
good.
He was smashing. She's like, what's your problem?
But it's just like,
So,
I used to always go into bars and if I know I'm meeting somebody that notoriously drinks or whatever, not Steph, I'm just saying, like, if I meet
You're
somebody-
pointing at Steph.
I have gone in,
well,
not Steph. I will go
well, I
and drink
guess-
with Steph because I don't feel like she'll take me out back and
well, that's what happened.
Right. Actually, she did take me
Right.
out back and do something
That's
with me.
how
but
Joe got on the show. Is that
how
we went
developed the show.
we went
Oh
on
my
a networking we were at a networking event that Joe was hosting, his company was hosting, and then I took him into the back corner of the parking lot, and I'm like, hey, I got this radio show. I need to
Against the
edit.
wall,
And whatever.
radio show.
And I'm
You're
like-
in.
I'm like, hey, do you want this like bag of dicks out of my car in exchange for you to
be on the radio show.
and
I'm
like none of his red flags were going off, and now here he is.
I accepted a bag of dicks.
Now all the red flags come out.
I accepted a bag of dicks. Okay,
we had
so
a red flag customer though that we literally sales
I've had many of them.
sales turned in a job and thankfully and ended up getting caught like in the process of like it literally was red flags, just a series of them popping. He was pushing like, oh, you can throw it in, you make a ton of money on this,
insurance
you
fraud.
can throw it in, you can throw
Insurance
it in.
fraud.
Yeah, and it's like all this stuff is like, no, man, like that's not how this works. Like we can't do this, blah blah blah. And it's like, and then the job comes in, then he wants to change the color of color products, and all that, and it's like he had special order products. He's pulling like, well, you didn't order that yet, right? And it's like, yes, we did. It's special order. It's like,
Online with your
Dude.
timeline, I'm ready to build. Are you ready?
Yeah.
No, I don't want to build
he's like,
now.
well,
for
you didn't
another 2
order what I
months.
told you to order, did you? Because I want to
Red
change
flag
it now.
after red flag.
And then it was like after reviewing the job and everything, I'm like, this doesn't financially make sense to do this right now. We're writing the check back or he's kicking in.
Right.
And like we go sit down and I knew that we knew going in that it was going to be one or two things. Either he was going to kick in and pay or he wasn't, and I'm going to write a check back. So I wrote the check out. I had it all ready to go because I'm like, worst case scenario, I void it out and shove it in the drawer of the office. And
we have a nice bourbon.
and we sit down and I'm like, and I'm like, we can't do it. I'm like, if you want all this work done, I'm like, this is what I can do for your dollar amount that got approved. I'm like, if you want this amount of work done, I need this dollar amount from you. And he's like, no, I know you can do it. But I'm like, I'm telling you that I can't and I won't unless you kick in this money. He's like, no. I'm like, well, I can write you the check back or you got to kick in. He's like, well, just write me the check back. I'm like, all right.
Didn't even write it, just
Pull it
handed
out.
it.
There you go.
His wife was not happy about that. She's like, you just had the check ready to go? And I'm like, it was gonna go one or two ways. Either, I'm like, and I'm not here to waste time. I'm like, I'm not
Either
gonna
you're gonna be writing a check or I'm
gonna
gonna give
mail
you a
the
check.
check. I'm like, yeah, you're gonna give me one or I'm gonna give you one.
Yeah.
And
That's it.
yeah, and ultimately he ended up getting the work done by some other company that they cut a lot of corners. He got all of his work done that he wanted, but they cut a lot of corners. And when you look down the street at the job that we did, you can see the difference. And they're neighbors. So
Yeah.
they got to see, he's got to drive by the difference in his houses
That's
every
hilarious.
day.
Have you ever noticed how offended and how difficult it is to fire those red flag clients, like they
Oh,
go down
yeah.
fighting
They do
hard.
because they're upset that you're denying that, like you're
Like-
turning them down.
like the
because
rejection.
Okay, give us
they
your
want to
story.
give you money, and then they're like, "You don't want my money," and they're offended that you're
Right.
like, "We tell people,
Yeah,
sorry, I don't need your
absolutely, I
business.
don't
to
want
stay
your
in
money.
business.
Yeah.
It's
Right.
easier to drop you and sign up 5 happy people."
Hey,
Right.
you know, and
but we get,
Exactly.
we get to always look back and be like, but you're welcome that I got you this $40,000 in the first place.
exactly. They're like,
Well,
you're welcome for the
yes,
insurance.
that's
approval.
like, all right.
Sometimes.
How many? Name a client. Not name a client, but
What?
what's the story that you got? Because I'll wait. I'll tell mine
I've
if you want.
fired so many clients. Like, I mean, not just like it's not at Steph's books, but like in my former life, like I've
not
fired
fun.
just so many people. I mean,
She's like,
well,
I've been waiting for this show, you guys. Let me tell you.
She pulls out her notepad.
Bitches, man.
Which
I
one
got-
do you want
I got the best segment.
Hold on, let me get a file out of my office.
hey, Carrie.
Hey, Gary. Oh, I
But
was
it's
just
just-
about to tell the story
Is
about
it
Gary.
Dwight's complaint box?
But it's just like, I
That's a
mean,
good one.
like if they're just not like a good fit, like I mean, I've had people where I'm like, you know what, like you're just even at Steph's books, like you're just not a good fit for the service that we provide.
Yes.
You know, you're not going to be happy with the deliverable. I tell them I'm very, very direct. Like you're not going to be happy with the deliverable. This isn't going to work. Like just you need somebody else, like somebody that's not me.
So before you go into Joe's story, let's go this way. You know them really, really well.
Oh, like a friend?
Oh, I have that.
And they're a total red flag client.
John actually.
He'll take the job.
Because you
Oh,
know, well, you know
we
you're
didn't-
taking them on,
Right.
but you know you're taking on that red flag, right? Just like I hired the crackhead,
But it's not somebody you knew really well, right?
but I
You
still
wanna talk
took
about
on
the
the
red
red
flag?
flag.
No, but there's like a difference
never turned
between
into a
like
job?
your so like if
Oh,
one of
no,
like
what's-
my good friends had a business
Right.
that I knew since high
And
school
sold the
and they're
house?
like, "Oh, well, you know, can
Oh.
you do my
My
books or
books?
something?"
That's a one.
Yeah.
That's
I
a
would
great
be more
one.
inclined to say no versus yes. Like I don't want that
You
because
would, now would you do it based?
I would say no.
Would you say no and say my reason is conflict of interest, in the sense of like,
Well, there you go.
oh, you're not taking that. You don't beat your mom. You don't like
What
bookkeep
did
for
you
your
just
mom.
say to me?
Kids in that family.
Bookkeep for your mom. Damn it.
No, my mom said that she wanted to come and work for me part time and help me out, and I told her no
Ah.
and whatever.
That's
And-
fair.
Ah.
That's fair, Mom.
Sorry about
Mom.
Sorry,
Mom.
I
Be
couldn't do
happy.
it.
I appreciate it.
I don't particularly like working with like close friends. It's difficult because with networking and stuff, like I've developed relationships with a lot of people and I see them outside of the business atmosphere. Like, for
Mhm.
example, like we've gone out, like I've gone to dinner with like your whole family
Mhm.
and your daughters, and your daughters have been on the show. You've met my sons.
Mhm.
Like it's very different. Like,
we
you know,
have
I've
a
been
lot more in-depth.
like people have
John
been
and I met through work,
Yeah.
and now we're business partners and friends. Like,
Right.
we're good friends
But it's-
outside of work too.
it's just like
And it's
I
like, but it-
can't do it. Like I don't
I
want to
couldn't
take
go to
friends
some
on.
of my old friends and do business.
Some
Like,
of them.
Yeah. Like if
all
you
of them.
were, if
There's
you,
not- there's not I'm sorry.
I don't want
Okay,
to. I don't
well,
want to take friends
There's
on
not
either.
You
an
guys
old
met-
friend of mine
You
that
guys
could
became
do.
friends through
Here,
work.
Carrie
And
says,
that's
Right.
why.
So we've always
That's
held
why.
ourselves to a work standard first.
Carrie says, a customer calls in and I answer, I have some questions about mold. I'd like to talk to the owner. Me, this is the owner. Customer, I'd like to speak to a man.
Carrie's gotten that.
I'll
a couple
tell you
times.
right now,
Carrie's
my
gotten that a couple
roofer
times.
is straight up the El Chapo of roofing.
And it's a woman.
And she is.
Oh.
she is as tall or shorter than Steph. And all of the men on the out of the
Hopefully
like
Eric's not listening anymore.
10, 12 crews that she runs, she will snap any one of those dudes.
That's
neck.
amazing.
She demands the respect, and boy, does she get it.
Oh, they give it.
So for my client, right? I told you guys in the green room before we were here. I'm just going to get this one in before we end.
Well, what you learned today.
That's what I'm saying. So I have Carrie's cousin's son. He was spending the summer with us working for us, and he's 15. And him and I I got this estimate to go on. So I go to this estimate. I'm like, all right, let's go. And we show up and they go, you can go anytime. Here's the code to unlock the door. It's vacant. It's a fire. All right, when was the fire? It was 6 months ago. Bing, red flag, right? Why haven't you done anything in 6 months, right?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, we'll go look at it. So we go look at it. He says, walk in through the kitchen in the back door. All right, walk in through the kitchen, got my flashlight. I'm walking. Do you remember me telling you this story? Yeah. So I'm walking in and I told my basically he's my nephew, right? It's and I told him he's 15. I'm like, stay behind me. Right? No idea what's in this house, right? What the damage is, anything like that. And I goes,
6 months, animals could be in there.
Correct. No, bums, right?
Bums.
There could be anybody living in there. Right?
Exactly. Crackheads.
So I walk in and we walk
Your
into
ex-employee.
we walk into the kitchen. It's this sliver, one little hallway of a kitchen that's about this
Yeah.
wide as this
Called a
table,
galley
right?
kitchen.
Well, you hit the end of it, you make that little turn. You make a little turn to the left, and then you make an immediate turn right there, and you're in the hallway, right down the center hallway of the house, right? And I go and I take this turn and I look down this hallway and I go, oh, fuck, dude, get out. And he goes, what? And I go, get out right now, back up. And the entire hallway, there wasn't a single joist that stretched across the hallway.
Oh.
And I was looking straight
Ooh.
down into the basement. And in the basement, there was a table and it was broken glass everywhere. Fucking, it was a meth lab that blew up down in the basement. And because meth labs, when they go, they burn. It's so many chemicals. It's so hot. They roasted through all those joists so quick.
Wow.
So the top upstairs was like smoke and soot,
Yeah.
but the joists were gone in the hallway.
Yeah.
And I'm literally like, dude, get out. He goes, what? I go, get out right now.
It's not
We're
safe.
out. We're out. We're going. And he goes,
Back
what?
it up.
And I go, just, all right, here, take a quick poop, look, Rick. All right, get out. Like, we're leaving. And him and I are both skinny dudes, right? So, like,
Right.
I didn't hear many cracks and creaks, but I still was like, are you freaking kidding me? Like, dude didn't say anything. Yeah, just, can you go in and estimate that one? Yeah, just walk right in. I'm like,
Yeah.
So didn't you like
Hey,
want to
hey,
go
man,
punch him
hey.
in the face?
we never saw him face to face. It's only
No.
through.
I feel like
It
I
was
would have
only
found
through
him.
the phone.
Like
He
you
called
knowingly
in,
sent
right?
me in there.
So we sent him an
Like-
email. Sorry, sir, we are not doing this job.
Nope, I wouldn't have sent an email like that. I would have
Um,
sent you bibbity blobbity blue. Like,
Yeah,
yeah.
I mean,
we would have had a problem.
that's
Oh.
saving
A
face in my
risk
mind. Is
assessment,
I don't want to
though.
get him to like go
Yeah.
online and start to leave a bad review because I cussed him out, right? Like I'd rather just cut that rope and walk away.
That's unbelievable.
That's not a summit I want to reach. That's a storm I don't want to traverse
Like,
through right there.
all right, we got 3 more minutes.
So I
or
guess I
2.5
forgot to
or
tell
so.
you guys in the green room
Yeah.
that we do the last couple minutes of the show. We do what did you learn today?
Oh man.
So
Yeah, it's in the know. So
You
what do you
have-
know?
so you have to say it could be something that you learned in the green room. It could be something related to the show. It could be like a funny little thing that you're taking away from the show. It could be
Don't walk through meth lab burned houses.
it could be a variety of anything that
Yes.
you've learned today. So I don't think Kent can go because he doesn't have a mic. So Joe,
He's just been yelling across the studio the whole time. You didn't learn anything, did you?
did you want to kick it off, Joe? Or
Yeah, for me, I learned that that there is a lady that runs a massive amount of roofing group, and she is officially from here on out going to be considered the El Chapo of roofing.
You know who you are, by the way.
We won't name names, but you know.
Listen, we'll send you the link so you can send her the show and make
Right.
sure she knows she was mentioned.
That's so funny.
Awesome.
I guess what I learned today
See,
is
you call me out first.
I do.
You're
I'm not even prepared. I'm not
Rolling
prepared.
fast, I'm saying it right now.
I learned that Stephanie carries around waivers with her when she.
I learned that Steph-
I'm just saying, if you're going to be good at something, be good at it all the way.
If you're
Okay,
gonna-
there's no half-assing.
Yeah.
Like you're just good.
That's it. I agree.
I don't know. I think I learned that everybody, the only way to spot the red flags is just through trial and error and experience. Like no
Mm.
matter what industry you work in, who you work for, what clients you take on, it's always gonna be trial and error. Because I feel like no matter what you go in with that intention, that there's always a surprise situation where you're
Mhm.
like, well, shit, like I should have seen that like
Red flags
3
can
steps
be,
ago.
Red flags can be
2020s.
buried.
And you
hindsight,
can't and
you
you
know,
can't
for a
judge a
reason.
book by its
Yeah.
cover. You know, sometimes that person that you don't think is going to be that top performer becomes your top performer. So you really can't call it all the time.
Or the
Red
best
flags
customer you've
and
ever
green
had
flags
ends
can be
up being the
buried.
worst
Yeah,
one you ever
absolutely.
had later.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
So what's something that you guys learned today?
Not to exempt crackheads from sales because they can be highly productive. And second of all, I probably don't want to go out drinking with Steph.
Fair enough.
I was
Fair
gonna say I
enough.
was gonna start recruiting down at the halfway house and not to sign anything that Steph gives me when we're at any kind of luncheon.
I mean, you guys made it through today, so you're doing pretty good, right? She didn't run you through the gamut. It's when we hit Whiskey Bungalow that's when it gets crazy.
That's fun.
We would definitely be happy to come back. It's been fun.
Absolutely. It's been awesome, guys.
Where can they find you guys?
Yep. One more time.
Level Up Restoration LLC.com.
815-216-4550. Check out our links to Facebook, Google, all that stuff is on our website. Check out our reviews. That's the big thing. You can call us and vet any single one of those. We do very quality work and very well known in the area for that.
And you can see a lot of our work on Instagram in particular.
Awesome. Appreciate it, guys.
Yeah, we appreciate you.
I thank
Yeah.
you guys.
Fun show.